Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. Well, today we're discussing a horological and literal giant. It's the Jaeger-LeCoultre Master Compressor Extreme Lab 2 in titanium and ceramic. You can see this 2015 Blue Accent Edition, one of 300 made, and buy it on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right-hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see this and our entire collection of Jaeger-LeCoultre watches for sale. Now, the watch on my wrist is large, but not massive. Mass implies a weightiness, many grams, and under the influence of the Earth's acceleration due to gravity, 9.8 meters per second, that would create weight on the wrist. But it doesn't have that. It's light, it's wieldy, it's titanium, it's ceramic, and the combination of the two means that in conjunction with the 53 millimeter lug-to-lug dimension, you can actually wear this watch comfortably on a wrist as small as 15 centimeters circumference. Now, the watch is only 15.6 millimeters thick. I say only because it's listed as 16.8 on the JLC website. JLC, my calipers don't lie. Give yourself more credit. It's a slimmer watch than you claim. From 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock, not inclusive of the crown or chronograph pushers, this one measures 46.3 millimeters, so it is broad across the wrist. Now, you're not going to wear it under a dress cuff of any kind. You can see there's a little bit of a cantilever to the case flank that'll prevent that, but it does wear comfortably, and there are some ergonomic tricks built in to make that a fact. First, ratcheting lugs. For real, they adjust to take the perfect set on your wrist regardless of its size or shape. You'll also note that there's a little bit of camber molded into the strap so that it curves around your wrist. Moreover, you'll note that there is a rather remarkable double ardion or double pin buckle that has a cam system built in for micro adjustments. Again, very, very thoughtful. This is a 3, perhaps even 4-figure replacement part, I've heard. I think our wholesale value is in the 3s. The retail price to replace this one is in 4 figures euro-wise. So you can imagine just how over-engineered that is by itself. You can also use its quick-release function to pull it off the strap, because in conjunction with the quick-release lug system activated by lifting a shutter on the back, you pull the strap out and you fit the rubber replacement for hardcore sports and aquatic use. The strap, though, is very substantial. The two ends and the buckle by themselves may be heavier than the watch head. You can see massive and very close cut, very close drilled to the case. You can't see any daylight between case flank and strap, so it's very integrated. It's also huge. 2 pieces of leather bonded together by both adhesives and stitching. You can see robust alligator leather in black on the top with a contrasting blue stitch on the bottom, calf skin with a rubber inlay to better secure the watch against the skin. You'll also note that there is that characteristic quick release system on both sides. Simply lift and pull. It's that easy to remove the straps, no tools required. The case is a combination of brushed and polished grade 5 titanium, which is extremely resilient and scratch resistant, more so than steel in my experience. You'll also note that there is a nicely knurled and satin finished with polished lip ceramic bezel. Now, I say all these details are important because this is a distinct ceramic bezel for this 2015 model. The 2015 gold and titanium models had a different bezel than the prior 2014 model year Extreme Lab 2 red accent and the gold equivalent. So this is a different aesthetic, not just in coloration, but also in texture of the ceramic bezel. The ceramic bezel also takes most of the knocks that the watch will endure, ensuring that even though this is a very hard variant of titanium, it will rarely be called upon to block a scratch or a scuff. Now, the watch's signature feature really has to be narrowed down to the digital chronograph. Although the watch is loaded with functionality, this is the showstopper. This is the one that'll inspire you to call your friends around, whether they're watch nerds or not, for the signature moment when the digital chronograph minutes discs roll over. Don't blink. There it goes. Now, you also note there's a 24-hour scale for the chronograph. This is rarely seen on chronographs, which generally measure minutes or intervals of up to 12 hours. Now, it's been noted that because this is a GMT, you can actually see the stub second time zone hand right there under my thumb. You could have 2 time zones at center, and then if you started it at the right time, you could actually use the chronograph as a 3rd time zone. That claim is not wrong, and it's been validated in practice. Now, you can also see there's an AM/PM indicator at 6 o'clock that corresponds to that little stub GMT hand, and it's worth noting that though the dial is completely open-worked, thanks to Luminova on the hands as well as the Arabic numerals, it's a very easy watch to view in low-light conditions, and you can see just how robust the contrast is between the numerals and the anthracite open-worked caliber 780 780 in broad daylight. Now you can also note that there is a power reserve scale at 12 o'clock. It actually spans from 9 o'clock all the way over to 3. You can see a very small amount of blue, and watch that blue. Oh, let me use the multi-function crown to select winding. Neutral mode is winding. Watch that blue element disappear because the radial power reserve changes from blue to white as you fully energize the 65-hour power reserve. Now let's talk a little bit about that crown, because we may as well discuss how a crown that does not pull out selects multiple functions in a highly complicated watch. There's a second column wheel that allows you to use the function selector adjacent to the date to set everything in sync, wind the watch, or independently adjust the local time to set your second time zone and local time zone distinct. It's very cool, and you'll even note there's a small and discrete date next to it that's driven by the local hand as you advance it. You can roll it forward or backwards to drive the date forward or backwards as you cross the international date line. Over here you can see that there are rubber inserts on the chronograph pushers, which are broadly shouldered. You're not actually touching the pusher, you're touching a shield that protects the pusher. And then there's a ceramic shoulder to the crown itself that's knurled for easier handling and also provides a measure of scratch resistance on this high impact component. Now you also note that the movement, caliber 780, is immensely complex. 569 parts, 70 joules, a 65-hour power reserve. It features stop seconds, not because you can pull the crown out and stop the seconds, but because there's a slider on the case flank that stops the movement, stopping the chronograph, stopping the constant seconds, which is in the 24-hour subdial. Return the slider and you unhack the movement. Stop seconds is canceled, and now it's beating again, and it's beating via a 4 Hz 28,800 vibration per hour balance that is both free sprung and braced with a full dual anchored balance bridge. Robustly shock resistant, there's a second level of protection in as much as there's an inner and outer case. The inner case separates the movement from the shocks, bumps, and concussions that will influence the outer case. So you've got a tough movement architecture and then a shock absorber system to protect it. And it's protected to 100 meters, despite the fact that the crown does not screw in. Again, that's why you have that rubber accessory strap that comes with the watch so you can get it set for aquatic use. Now there's a column wheel with a vertical clutch, respectively for smooth and crisp function selection. You can see the column wheel interacting with its levers just below my finger, and the vertical clutch ensures that you can leave the chronograph running with no additional wear and tear. It also has the advantage, if you watch the chronograph seconds hand, of eliminating any play in the system, so there's no jump when you start the chronograph and there's no stagger when you stop it, and it always resets precisely to the index at 12. This is a watch so loaded down with features, so crammed with content and details, you could own it for a year and not get through all of them. I'm sure I've forgotten something, but at this point I feel like I've given you the best of what I've got. With only 300 made, this will be a rare pleasure. Will it be yours? See it and own it on our website.